Yo, what up? Welcome back. I am Brian Lee Durfee, author of The Forgetting Moon and The Blackest Heart, both published by Simon & Schuster's Saga Press. Today, we're going to be not reviewing any books. I'm going to be showing you my Jim Butcher book collection. And as you look at it, some of you are going to think, well, I've got a better Jim Butcher book collection than that guy. I got every Jim Butcher in hardcover. And Durfee's just only got a handful in hardcover. The rest are mass market paperbacks. Well, there's a reason for that, and I'll get into that. But first of all, let's talk about the fact that I know Jim Butcher. I've sat on several writing panels with him at several different Comic-Cons. In fact, one of those panels I recorded, and actually it is on my channel. Just search my name, Jim Butcher's name, Larry Correa's name. In fact, just search Brian Lee Durfee Salt Lake Comic-Con or something, and the panel will come up. We talk about the tropes of fantasy and good tropes versus bad tropes and all that and the fantasy writing. And so it's one of my most watched videos, by the way. It's a great video of a bunch of great writers. I think Brian McClellan, who wrote the Powder Mage series, is also on that panel. I know it was me, Larry. Anyway, it was a bunch of us. It was a grip of super awesome writers. Anyway, let's talk about, and so I've met Jim Butcher, so let's start out in high fashion. I do have just one book of his signed, and it is the paperback version of The Aeronaut's Windlass. He did sign it to me at one of the events we were doing. So that is my Jim Butcher signed book. I also have the hardcover version of the same thing, but I don't have the hardcover signed. I do have the paperback signed. We'll start off with that. Now let's go to his other series, which is actually, this is where I started reading Jim Butcher. I got the Furies of Calderon free. I got this book free at the I believe it was the 1997. Let me check the date here. No, it was 2004. The World Fantasy Convention. Yeah. 2004 World Fantasy Convention in Tempe, Arizona. They were giving away a gift bag to all the attendees with free books. There's about a dozen free books in them. This book was in it, and this was the first Jim Butcher book I ever read. And it was Furies of Calderon #1. I started following this. Well, I dug this enough that I immediately went out and started buying the Dresden Files too. But I started following these books. And let's just look at these. I mean, these have got great covers. I like that the covers all match and that the spines all look, the covers are all done by the same artist, same graphic design, and the spines of the series, it all just looks super nice on the shelf to have all of these paperbacks of his Codex Alera just look really good together on the shelf. And I appreciate when publishers take the time and effort and I think it's just being considerate to the reader to put out a series like this and have it all match. And so far, Jim Butcher has had pretty good luck with that. However, I mean, the first few Dresden books I got were in the small format paperback. And then they jumped to the oblong bullshit paperback. The first half dozen Dresden books were in this smaller format, and I had them for the longest time. And then they started putting them out in these oblong bullshit. We all hate these. We all hate the long version. But anyway, what I did was I ended up buying the entire series in the oblong version, just because there was no other choice. Otherwise, I would just be, it would just look weird on the shelf. And so there's book 1 and 2. And then I've got the rest of the series here. And I purchased them all in these mass market paperbacks. 1, 2. So the first 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. First 13 books in the Dresden Files I have in the mass market paperback. And then I really I was like, well, I want to start collecting them in hardcover. So from there on out, I ended up getting them in hardcover. And the last 4 I got in hardcover. And I do have to say that, again, they've kept the same cover artist for all of the books, which I love. because it's a great cover artist, and he does great, great covers. I love all of the covers. I just think they are absolutely perfect and set the tone exactly perfectly for the books. And they only get better and better. You know, I think this was the very last one that came out. I mean, and these covers are just super gorgeous. Absolutely striking covers. So good job to the artist and the art department of the publisher, Rock. Again, just look at how nice that is. It's just such a great cover. And Cold Days. Now, and that's it. That's my Jim Butcher book collection. I mean, it's pretty much everything he's done. I do not have the short story. I do not have any of the Dresden short story books. So that, I guess the collection's kind of incomplete. But it is what it is. I think it's a nice collection, especially with my signed book. And, you know, if I ever meet him again and happen to have a book a law, or, you know, run into him again, I'll have a book with me, I'll have him sign it. But, you know, I've ran into the guy like a half a dozen times. I'm just not carrying his books with me 24 hours a day. You know, I just happened to have this one. This one happened to be for sale. Anyway, long story short, that's my Jim Butcher collection. And Dresden Files, fantastic. You can see a lot of my reviews of the Dresden books on the channel. I have not reviewed any of the Codex Illyria. Those will be coming probably in years from now. I will reread these. I did drop a review of the Aeronaut's Windlass on the channel at some point, so you can watch that. And that is my whole collection of Jim Butcher books right there.